Welcome back, everyone. Pal Ponder on Weather here. In this update, we've got a pretty significant cool shot for June standards really over the course of the next week. And then the following week, it definitely starts to look active on the severe weather front. So let's really break down the details for you in this update and start off with the North American view on the 500 millibar. And you can actually see up here in Canada, we've got this dominant ridge of high pressure that's locked over a lot of sinking air across that region. That continues to not move at all, and it continues to put these well above average temperature anomalies extending from the Pacific Northwest all the way through the north central US and into the Great Lakes. But we have a pretty significant trough that's coming into New England that brought some chillier temperatures this morning across that region, even some record low temperatures to talk about. That's also connecting with this very active subtropical jet stream here. That's going to put this whole area on the southern branch of the jet stream more or less average to below average, really kind of all week long, with that cooler shot of air really starting to filter into these regions. So let's break down the details for you and take a look at some of these near record, if not record lows. In fact, they did actually tie a record low up there in New York City this morning, 49 degrees. That actually goes all the way back to 75 years, folks. So that's definitely a colder shot of air. And that's just the beginning of what's to come. Even Portland, Maine may not even get out of the 50s today. So that could be a record kind of low high temperature for them. So definitely a colder shot of air, and that will continue to shift and ooze itself further southwest and really start to take over a lot of these areas across the portions of the southeast over the course of the week ahead. But for today, we still have that active subtropical flow and the northwest flow alive. So really during diurnal heating, about 2 to 8 o'clock this afternoon, we could be looking at popcorn variety thunderstorms produced in the highest peak heating of the atmosphere. The atmosphere should start to turn over across portions from Montana, all the way shifting down into Wyoming through Colorado, all the way into the Texas Panhandle. They've seen a ton of rain, and then draping through East Texas, Central Texas, and North Texas, as well as into portions of Louisiana later on this afternoon. In fact, you can actually see this on where they have the highest risk for excessive heavy rains toward today. Almost looks like a little dinosaur here. But yeah, that's the flow essentially from Montana to the Texas Panhandle, all the way encompassing really all of Texas. And so this atmosphere will start to bubble up. Florida stays in the action with the just remnants of what was Tropical Storm Arlene. That's still kind of hanging around out there down in that region. And that's still bringing some elevated rain showers across portions of South Florida. But look at the active jet stream, folks. I mean, this is the El Nino really kicking in alive and well with that steady stream of moisture coming in off of Hawaii that taps into these well above average anomalies down here in the Pacific, and then really starts to amplify. And once it lifts up and has that southwest flow and it connects with the northwest flow, boom, you get that daily occurrence of just afternoon, daytime heating thunderstorms. And these tend to die out as they get deeper into the nighttime frame, and then they just kind of regenerate the next day. We've seen that as of late, and I think we're going to see that for really over the course of the next week ahead, because you can actually see as we extend the view heading into Monday time frame, we have that same consistent flow. So the same areas from Montana to Texas are kind of in the bullseye, with the Texas Panhandle being the main favorite area to be in, you know, an area that could see some heavier rains, if not flooding rains. They've seen extensive flooding in those regions, and unfortunately there's a lot more to come in the week ahead. And even New Mexico is going to start getting those flooding rains as well. And you can take a look at the next 48 hours, what we're talking about with these little popcorn scattered variety thunderstorms that kind of bubble up in the heat of the afternoon. They tend to kind of fester up, and once they do, they're able to produce outflow boundaries, and those outflow boundaries really can swing out in different directions. And that's going to be the culprit for new development. And then this is what you're essentially seeing. And then they kind of just rain themselves out. You basically have very light steering currents aloft. You got copious amounts of fueling these storms. We're talking 1.5 to 2 inch per hour rainfall rates. That's why you can see these isolated flash flooding in these regions. You've definitely seen that as of late. And that's kind of the same setup we're going to be in for really many days to come. What I'm looking at over the course of the next week, because we transfer into Tuesday, we kind of still see that same persistent flow. So generally the same areas kind of get hit over and over and over again, or the favorite areas to seeing more of those heavier rain showers into the afternoon time frame. But the cool shot is alive and well, folks. I mean, that's a pretty significant cool shot for June standards. It starts off with that trough, which was they're seeing this morning in New England, but they're going to be starting to share those cooler temperatures and start to drift into the mid-Atlantic, drift down here into the southeast, drift over into portions of Texas, and swinging and connecting with that active subtropical jet. So yes, it puts these areas 5 to maybe 10 degrees below average temperatures at times, and has the ridge just further north up there in Canada. So there's really about 70% of the country you could actually see below average temperatures, which is definitely rare for June. And it's not just a one-day wonder. It's kind of an all week long shot of colder air, because once it locks in, it's really complements of the teleconnections of the negative AO and the negative AO right now. And that's the pressing of the overall jet to the north is going to pull down that cooler air, connecting with that more active subtropical jet stream. And boom, that's the perfect recipe for below average temperatures across the southern branch, while the polar jet is less active, and you got that ridge of high pressure lifting all the way north into Canada, and has that sinking air associated with it. And of course, where it's dry, you definitely heat up, and that type of atmosphere, that's definitely what we're going to be seeing over the course of the week. But here's the connection over the next 5 days. It really doesn't change. It just has this trough moving a little bit further off, pushing this ridge of high pressure further back to the west. So I think eventually it's going to set up shop over a good part of the Northwest Territories and up here in the Pacific Northwest. And then underneath, you've got that connection that pulls that, those below average temperatures and a little bit more just unsettled weather. So really for Maine all week, it's a chilly rain, folks. It is definitely chilly. You got plans up there, and you live up there. I don't need to tell you, it's going to be in the 40s and 50s kind of really all week long. It's definitely going to feel like, it's not going to feel like spring or summer. It's definitely going to feel very below average temperatures up there. And you really don't heat up too much during the daytime either. So, because even at the higher levels, it's got a lot of width associated with it. So from the top down, it's even colder from the up top. It's not just even not like a shallow air mass at all. It's just pretty extended, all layers of the atmosphere. So it's definitely a bona fide shot of colder air. And that's why it's got a lot of legs to it that's going to last all week long. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen. Because again, if you break down the temperature anomalies over the next 5 days, it definitely puts the coldest anomalies up there in New England, a good part of the Northeast, but then they kind of share the cooler air for a good part of the Southeast, much of the Southern Plains, and then you've got that more active subtropical jet sharing off to the portions of the Southwest and portions of California. And then here's the flow for the next 5 days. So this is your rainfall totals. There's your active subtropical jet coming in off California. That pulls in some of that moisture, feeds it over portions of Idaho back into Montana. And then you got that northwest flow really setting up shop across Wyoming, Colorado, back into portions of New Mexico, gets into the Texas Panhandle, and that feeds into north and central Texas, back into East Texas, while you've got the remnants left over from Arlene just kind of sitting and spinning up down there in that region. And then puts the heaviest rains across Florida. And then you've got that trough, backdoor trough coming in up New England, puts the highest rain amounts up into Maine. And then once you get across the Great Lakes, the taps really shut off and you're just begging for rain. And there's not much to speak of across those regions. And if we take you out in the tropics, there's a lot of activity too. So nothing organized, but definitely a lot of tropical moisture down there. And this is the time of year when people start to travel and take their vacations. And you might be going down there in the Caribbean, maybe headed to the Caymans, maybe headed to Jamaica, heading over to portions of the Turks and Caicos area, back into the Bahamas. expect a lot of rain, folks. I mean, looks like an inundation of all week long with just heavier rain showers across those regions with these little stalled frontal boundaries. So definitely be on high alert that these areas, are going to be seeing extended days of just heavier rains across these regions, especially in the afternoon time frame. So yes, if we break it down all the way really through about the 11th time frame, I would say this pattern's really not going to go anywhere for the next week or so, with that same persistent flow coming in off the northeast, connecting with the subtropical jet with the ridge over the top. But it changes big time once we go past the 12th. So we are seeing a lot of indications on the ensemble members that this ridge that's going to be building down here in Mexico starts to elevate and lift further north up into Texas. And that's going to bring the heat back. It's going to shut down the cooler than average anomalies, but it's going to force the trough further north. And you got a bona fide setup for a very active severe weather threat coming in next week. So if we take a look at the 500 millibar on the wind, man, this is a massive massive trough injection coming in off the west. Whenever it digs down into the Baja like that, it gets more amplified, and the further south it can dig into the Baja, that definitely means the more intense it's going to be. And this is something that you would typically see like closer into the spring months, say April, maybe into May. But for the middle of June, this is definitely kind of rare to see, especially with the more ridging coming back over Texas and the heat really amplifying, fueling these storms. And instead of dew points that you would normally see into the maybe high 50s, into the 60s range, you're going to have dew points in the 70s, folks. So that definitely spells trouble with what's going to be lurking out west with that massive trough injection. And you're talking dew points in the middle 70s. That's bad news, folks, across Texas, across Oklahoma, and much of Kansas here, probably around the 12th and 13th time frame for possibly significant severe weather if this holds true. So we're seeing massive changes on the table after we get this kind of extended cool shot for the next week. I think the severe weather threat comes back with a vengeance, and I don't think it's a one-day wonder either. It's a multi-day event that could unfold by the time we get into the following week for several days to come. So, because if we take a look at some of these temperatures, I mean, bam, we've got triple digits coming into South Texas, and that feeds back into North Texas with upper 90s. Those 90s feed into Oklahoma. They feed back into Kansas, tapping into some of those higher dew points. That spells trouble, folks, especially with the Cape values being so high of 3,000 to 4,000. You've got a lot of ingredients really starting to come together, folks, and say, hey, if we get that massive trough injection like some of the model guidance are hinting at the moment, combination with what that energy is tapping into, that's not going to be looking pretty on the tornado front. It's not going to be looking pretty on the damaging wind front, and the very significant hail front as well across Texas, across Oklahoma, and Kansas look to be in the bullseye heading into the following week with this particular setup going forward. So I'm giving you plenty advanced warning of what may be on the table about 7 to 10 days from now with the dynamics looking to unfold. And like I mentioned, it doesn't look like just a one-day wonder. We've got a series of little short waves that are going to be trailing behind this massive trough injection. So this could be a multi-day event across these regions. So definitely we'll be fine-tuning this in the days to come on this channel. So guys, I appreciate you guys following. Do like this video, definitely hit the subscribe button, and catch me next update where I protect you for and after storm.